I know it's been kind of a crazy, basically 2 year stretch for you from the Holloway fight till now, and I'm sure you've talked about this ad nauseum. But how does it finally be back? Has it been frustrating being out this long? Have you just kind of had to roll with the punches, as it may be? How does it feel to finally be back?
It feels great, man. In the beginning, obviously after the fight, right, you're like, I need a little break from MMA right now. And then when I got the break, I was like, all right, I'm ready to go back in. I mean, everyone's been watching the whole stories, basically know what's going on already or what happened. But but yeah, man, I'm excited to be back. I'm happy to be back. It was a good thing for me in my career. I can just relax for a little bit. I was working nonstop for a long time. So it was like my mind, my body, everything needed to chill. My family, needed to see me a bit more and like basically reconnect with me because I was just had the blinders full on. But now they understand again, and I'm back on the fucking horse.
This might sound like a weird question, but very rarely do we to where you were at in your career and stay undefeated. It's just a rare thing in the sport. You had to deal with your first loss. How have you dealt with that first loss and coming back from that? Was it were you able to just put it behind you right away? Did it take a little while to kind of wrap your head around the fact that you had a loss? Like, how did you come back from that?
Day by day, dude. Literally. I mean, you see, you lose whatever, and then you kind of understand you lost the day of the fight, and after it kind of sinks in a little more, then a little more, and then finally you're like, you know what? Start looking at all the good things about everything. Then you start understanding the nature of the sport, how it goes, and then you just kind of fucking let it go. And that's kind of what it was. I just went in there and accepted it, let it go, and a positive way in order for it to allow less pressure to come into my life than more.
Throughout your career, Brian, you've always been a pretty late. I mean, as a compliment, but this fight with Zombie has seemingly gotten very personal. Obviously, we know the incident that happened back in March, and just a lot of the trash talk that's been said. Would you say this has been a more personal fight than you've been used to, or is it personal for you?
No, it's not personal, man. Uh, Not with him. No, I mean, yeah, it's not even personal. Saw him the other day. Nothing happened. I didn't say anything. He didn't say anything. Uh, it's not. If it was personal, we would have jumped at each other. It was just something that happened, an incident that was done on my part, and yeah, just a way of shutting up the trash talk.
And, coming back into such a high-profile fight, still being ranked number two in the division. Is the end goal always going to be the title? Do you even about that now? We have a new champion in the division. This is obviously a pretty high fight, for rankings. Do you feel that way? Saying that hey, I could jump right back into a top
Like
fight
for
right
me,
now. Do you even think about that?
yeah, this fight for me was not even more so trying to just uh get a top the bat or something, right? It was more like, all right, you took your break, you did everything, but also it's like I'm not trying to come back and take an easy fight in. I've never once in my life took an easy fight. If you watch my entire career right off the bat, my second fight in the UFC was against Tavares, who had more fights in the UFC than I had in my career. So I've never looked to take an easy fight, nor am I ever gonna start to look to take one. For me, it was like, all right, who's the baddest motherfucker right now? Who's on fire and who we can fight? All right. Then we looked at Korean zombies on a win streak, and then all of a sudden, the internet somehow tangled us together, and then the world wanted to see it fight, and then everything that happened, and now it's like, yo, these guys have to fight, and now I want to fight them. So that's basically what happened, and it's a good test to come back, solid guy. As for the title, I'm just working my ass off. I'm training hard, and obviously that's the goal here, right? To be the number one guy but also myself also with all the good people, you know. So it's like it's an interesting mix that I have in my head going on. But yeah, man. You're welcome.
And next, we have Carlos Contreras with Milenio Diarra.
Hola Brian, ¿me puedes escuchar ahí?
I don't speak Spanish.
You suddenly forgot about Spanish?
Oh,
¿Cómo estás?
I was trying to skip one interview. ¿Cómo andamos?
Bien, bien, todo bien. Quería preguntarte.
I want to ask you because leading up to your last fight, people would argue you're the most popular fighter who wasn't a UFC champion, and you're getting a lot of attention. I want to ask, do you feel like you still get that love from the fans? Because no matter what, you bring up Brian Ortega, a lot of people still get excited about talking about you.
Yeah, man, I feel like a lot of people, they still, who see me, they still love me. Some of them are a little bit upset recently due to my, which I cannot blame them for. Um, I feel if I had to choose and put both sides on a scale, I still say I'm more loved than I am hated.
I want to ask, I know everybody must bother you every day about your Modelo commercial and if you've made choices lately. They haven't played it in a while. Do you wish they would because you got a fight and you could get more attention, or do you like that you're getting some space from it?
Well, I don't know if you know the way the deals work with commercials, but they do a 1 year deal with them, and they play it out for 1 year and then it's over. So my year was up, and that was it. Now the next commercial, I think it's with Amanda. Yeah, it's with Amanda, and now it's her year for the commercial to be ran. But yeah, man, I mean, I don't mind it being played, but it's not my turn now.
Understood. Out of curiosity, I feel like this had come up back in April before the pandemic and everything. Were there serious talks to have you fight Zabit?
Were there?
To fight Zabit in April? Was that ever a discussion?
Oh, there wasn't. I just looked at my
Gotcha.
manager and said, "Were there?" And he said, "No."
And final question, we know you talked about moving things around in terms of your camp and your circle. Can you talk about which team you brought with you to Fight Island?
I brought Tiki Gossin with me as a manager, Jason Park as a Muay Thai coach, Jesus Avila as a boxing coach, Dr. Andy as a mad scientist behind the entire group. Henry Gracie had to stay behind because his swab tested positive for the Rona. And I brought my friend Dean Wellen just to keep me company, have fun, and bullshit around. And
Hey,
Paul Herrera for wrestling.
hey, thank you, Brian. Good luck.
Thank you.
We'll go to Sumo Dada from Sports Kita.
Thank you. Good looking out now. I was like looking at everyone in the room. I was like, wait a minute.
So Miki,
Can you hear me? Hey Brian, how you doing?
Doing good, man. Just throwing the shit out of my eyes.
Okay, so it's been 2 years, almost 2 years now since we last saw you in action, and since then you have had a change in training camp as well. So how has been the preparation for you in this fight, especially given the situation with the pandemic?
It was fun getting my team together and getting a whole group of people to work with each other and connect and get on the same page. And then finally, the pandemic obviously was another thing, so we had to adjust according to the way we could during everything. We had to get people tested. We had to shut the gyms down. we had to do private sessions only, one-on-ones, no partners. Then we had to get more people tested. Then we had to keep more people honest with how they live their lives. So we don't get it while we're training. And it was very tough, man. You know, you had to limit your partners, you had to test everyone. And even when you test everyone, you still couldn't count on them because people are seeing people and people are seeing other people and everyone wants human contact. So, you know, it's a little risky thing, but we did it, and I'm happy we're here now. Corona free and ready to fight.
So, this will be your big return to the UFC, but does it somewhat bother you there won't be any fans in attendance for this fight? For your return fight?
Nah, man, I'm all right with it. I'm used to fighting in the silence, so it's easy for me to do it.
So a few days back, Korean Zombie, he issued an apology saying for all the trash talk he did towards you. Now, in this lead up to this fight, I know there has been a lot of issues between you two guys, but does his apology somewhat change your perspective towards this rivalry, or is it just still the same for you?
It was never a rivalry, man. Uh, I Yeah, it was never a rivalry. I just kind of just he talked his shit and I talked my shit, but it was more like if that's how you're gonna be, that's how I'm gonna be. And then when I made it clear, if you really want a rivalry with me, this is how it's gonna get down. Then we heard all the apologies, so it was kind of just shut down, and that was it.
So the last time you fought Max Holloway, he still was the champion, featherweight champion. Now there's a new champion, Alex Volkanovski. I know your focus is on Korean Zombie for this weekend, but do you have any thoughts on him as champion?
I have thoughts on everybody in the division, you know. Thoughts on him, obviously, of course. He has the belt, which means he has the target on his back, which means we're training for everyone now. We're training for guys that are like Zabit, guys that are like Korean, guys that are like Holloway, guys that are like Volkanovski. Um, from now on, we have a whole team designed to fight and train for the top people in the division.
Okay, last question for me. So, how do you see yourself winning this fight this weekend?
But out, whatever I can take.
Okay, good luck to you, sir, and thank you.
Thank you.